but it's hard to get people to give you a retainer if you haven't initially provided value and they feel like you really understand what they want to accomplish. So if you're trying to sell somebody on like a 3-month engagement when you haven't gone through like an initial diagnostic in a way that's qualifying to both them being a good client and you, run into issues down the line with like you waste a lot of time. So the way I started getting yeses was I would be good at like get on a call. I would get somebody into a Zoom room. They would kind of share their story with me. And then I would be looking at their profile. I would show up prepared and I would say, hey, that's not anywhere. Like, how do you expect to be able to get results off of LinkedIn if you're not sharing all this great information that you're telling me about now? And then I would say, okay, well, let's go through a exercise together. So we're going to have 3 meetings, right? We're going to have one more. I'm going to do an interview. I'm going to record it. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. And then I'm going to write a new like about section. We're going to potentially, even depending on what it is, create like a PDF, right? Like something to feature on your homepage, or like a small video or whatever it is to kind of get this story out. We're going to have another meeting. We're going to go over it. And then I'm going to give it to in a round 2. And then we're going to have a final meeting that's a sign off. So it's like, hopefully there's a beginning, middle, and an end. And how does that sound? And what I found was I started getting yeses because I identified the problem, which is that their story wasn't being shared and they agreed. And then I was going to solve that problem. And then that was it. And I said, if you want to, I'm not going to offer you services until I understand what you want to do. And then what happened was I started getting a lot of yeses. So I started making pretty good money out of that. And then the way that I got better clients was, it wasn't intentional. It was that after I did that, some people were like, what else can you do for me? And some people went away, but it was a fair, like I helped them kind of position themselves. So my advice is to rethink how you're approaching people in a sales process. This is the advice I usually give to people, which is that how do you structure an offer for LinkedIn with a beginning, middle, and an end with a price point that's reasonable? So you get the yes, you get money, you do the work, you build trust, and then you sell them recurring services.
Okay, so restructure an offer to highlight what they're gonna get in the beginning, in the middle, and the end.
In
First,
solve a problem with the beginning, middle, and an end, where the end is the problem being solved.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, the stages of problem solving.
Right, because when you're meeting a stranger, you need to throw out a dollar amount and you need to get them to say yes and commit to that dollar amount to solve the problem that you're talking about, to at least start there. And then if they don't trust you or they don't like your work, you got to stand proudly of your work. So you want to and you're like professional services. Do you show up for those meetings? Did you actually do what you said? That is quote unquote the interview process, but it's not free. It's okay if they don't go with you, but this way, it lessens the burden on yourself to have to get these long-term arrangements up front. It creates a lot more like fluid nature of your ability to kind of like help people, build relationships with people, get to know them, make money. And then it puts you in the driver's seat to offer them something more substantial after you really understand what you're doing. So at that point, if you want, let's say, $1,000 retainer for managing systems, right? You've already built trust and they've already paid. So like now you know that they have money. It's just a matter of getting better at picking the people who you think are actually going to want to be in business for a long time. That's the key diagnostics. Like, are you picking somebody who you don't really trust that they're going to be in business for like 6 months? Because I made those mistakes too, especially with like consultants where you're like, I don't really understand. After talking to them, they might pay the upfront, but after talking with them, I got the impression they don't really know what they're selling. And so it's like, I don't think it's a good fit for me to invest a lot of time into versus someone who's a little bit older, a little bit more established, who I learn is a dentist who has developed this product. He's been doing it for 10 years. He wants to get it out. And then I'm thinking, I think this is a good client for me because I could really help this guy and he has money. So I can have like a fair exchange into like creating a job for myself.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Some of my best clients have been people who like more mature individuals, folks who are a little bit more secure in their work. Like they're more established. Yeah, I've never had a client under 30 or under 35, under 40.
That's good pattern
'Cause-
recognition. That's me
yeah.
neither. Me neither. Because I'm looking for people who I know want a fair exchange of time and value. They have money. They don't want to do this. So I'm solving that problem for them that try to find the people who then put me as a line item on their budget.
Wow. This is good stuff. This is good. This is so good. Thank you.